It's just a minor problem to like, a really big problem now.
And the majority of the injuries have come at the back in their defensive areas. The fact they've stopped scoring goals and taking chances in the way they have done, do you think that the injuries is the sole reason for this drop-off, or is there something else going on here?
I don't think there's something else going on. No, I just think it's been poor play, really, from forward players you'd expect a lot more from. The midfield has changed a little bit with Thiago coming into the team. Doesn't seem to have worked yet. Wijnaldum's been okay, but say that missing Jordan Henderson from there, he was a big leader for them in the middle of the pitch. He's not a centre half. We know that again. They've lost him yesterday, but I really think they've lost that quality and energy all around the pitch. And not having the crowd at Anfield is a big loss for them. And also the way they play, they've done it for 2 or 3 years. They've been brilliant, 100 miles an hour all the time. It's not always possible to keep that up.
No.
You can see signs of it just waning now. And look, maybe they have to find a different way of playing.
And we talk a lot about leadership, don't we? Van Dijk was a leader for them.
Yeah.
So was Jordan Henderson. He then goes out of the position where he's most effective and comes towards the back. It's not just the injuries, it's the people who've been injured, I think.
Yeah, I mean, look, don't get me wrong, they're key components, but, Scholes will tell you, don't win a league title, you don't win a Champions League with more than... You're a group of leaders. The team kind of manages itself within the dressing room. And, sometimes there are players that, who you think are quiet players are not the quiet players in the dressing room. And they actually lead by example on the pitch in different ways. And I'm sure Liverpool have those players. So it's easy to kind of go, no Henderson, no Van Dijk. And, we know that they're key components of their team. But, the fact is they are just... There's one too many players just not performing. Whether you look at even maybe Robertson dropped off or Trent's dropped off, that midfield's not functioning as well, the front three. It's been a bit hot and cold. They are a team that, I still believe will comfortably finish in the top 4, and they'll just put it down to an off-season. But it's been a shocker of a season with injuries. It's hard to just ignore that. It really is, yeah.
Yeah, I also think they haven't strengthened the squad sufficiently to cope with the challenges of retaining a Premier League. I think you don't build teams to win leagues, you build squads. You're looking at 20, 21, 22 players now in a squad that, look, they're not going to be of equal ability, but just as effective when they come into the team. I look at Liverpool's squad and you think of the forward players. They've got 3 brilliant forward players. Obviously lost Jota, who had a great start. But then if they're not doing it, Shaqiri and Origi, are they really good enough to go on and win your leagues and score you important goals when the best players aren't quite performing or injured?
Yeah, I mean, that's, there was talk of Timo Werner going to Liverpool at one point, wasn't there? And I know that he maybe hasn't exactly caught fire at Chelsea, but under different managers, different circumstances, that might have been a good one for them to get over the line. But it's easy for us to, kind of to sit here and go, well, you should have got that player, you should have got that player. But, Jurgen Klopp would have looked at it and gone, well, I don't know, Origi's always done well for me coming off the bench. That's all I need him for. Jota, that's an addition. Thiago, that's an addition. We've got Curtis Jones, who actually is having a good season within his first year at Liverpool. Is it enough to win a title? Again, I don't know, but obviously Jurgen Klopp felt that he had enough within his ranks, and it's just the injuries have done him.
Well, let's have a look at the stats that show us that this is, at this stage of the season, the worst ever Premier League title defence. So you can see it there. Leicester, they dropped off at this stage by 32 points. Liverpool is 33. Defending the title, I want to talk about this because it's only been done successfully once in the last 12 years. In fact, in the 28 years of the Premier League, only 8 times has a team won the league and gone on to do it again. Can you talk us through, Paul, the sort of unique demands of defending a title? That's interesting. Is it no different? Did you find it no different the following season?
I think you have to... We had a manager who demanded that the first day of pre-season after you'd won the league, the hunger and desire was still there. And he could see that in players straight away. From the very first minute you met him, the season after you'd won something, he'd be looking into your eyes, he'd watch you in training. He knew, does this lad want to go again? Does he really want to go again? Has he got that hunger inside him to do it again? And you've got to add that. We had to add that with our manager. If we didn't have that, we were gone. I'm telling you, you were out the window. Now teams are finding it really difficult to re-motivate themselves when they come back and do it, because it's a tough league to win. It's a really difficult league to win. I think it's more difficult now from when we were playing, because I think about every year we won the league, you always had one team. There was always one team, whether it was a Liverpool team, whether it's a really good Arsenal team, a really good Chelsea team, and later City. But now I think there's so much quality at the top of that league.
Yeah.
There's 3 or 4 teams that could possibly hurt you.
Yeah.
So what were you like personally after you'd won your first Premier League title? Did you find any drop-off in you? Did you feel like you'd climbed the mountain, that was it? Or were you just...
Well, I'd like to think no. I don't think so. Standards in training still have to be exactly the same. They have to be right up there because it's going to be hard. It's always going to be harder the year after because teams are desperate to beat you, absolutely desperate to beat you. And at Man United anyway, they're always desperate to beat you. Yeah. But especially when you've won the league and you've done what you want to do as a footballer, to go and do it again. You've got to have that determination. Great, you celebrate it for a few days, you have a good week or so. But even when you're on holiday, you're thinking about the season after, and that's the way we were.
I think the question we've got to be careful with a little bit because, I don't think any of us can question Liverpool's desire to go and win another title. I don't think it's down to that. I think we just were talking 2 minutes ago about how much bad luck they've had in this year. I mean, if Sir Alex would have run into a year where he'd lost Vidic, Ferdinand, yourself.
There were times when you lose them players, though.
Yeah, and I get that.
But the times when we lost Rio, I'm not sure if we won the league when we lost Rio, but as such an influential player, you've got to deal with it. That's when you've got to have the squad to back it up. We lost Roy Keane for 7-8 months through a cruciate ligament. He's like having 3 players missing. But you have players that come into your squad that are good enough and able, not nowhere near as good as Roy Keane, but you give something to the team.
What about your first one, the first title you won? Because obviously you came into a club that was synonymous with winning titles anyway. And I only ask that because it's Liverpool's first one in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And if we're going to be talking about kind of that hunger and desire, that euphoria of finally getting over the line, what was it, I suppose, is what I'm trying to say. That first one, it must have been different to your 10th, 11th, 12th. How many you won?
23rd.
It was obviously different. Do you know what I mean? It was like
11.
watching Brady the other day win his 19th Super Bowl or whatever, his 7th Super Bowl. It's just...
Do you know what? I can't remember what happened after the first season we won it.
In '99, when you won the league, in the year 2000, that's the greatest ever title defence. You were 12 points better off the following season, which is like...
Well, that's a big headline for a big statement, if you like, for such a season where it was brilliant from start to finish. You win them 3 trophies, you couldn't be on a bigger high. So to come back and go again. But that comes from your manager. That has to come from your manager, your
the
team.
fear almost.
The fear from your manager, because if you're not coping, you're gone. He didn't care who it was. It could be Roy Keane, it could be
but that's
Brian
what we're going to
Robson,
talk
it could
about.
be anybody.